watch out for this.
Okay, boys, in all seriousness, I'm just waiting for a call from the Rabbi. Should know there's a mamish chushev Rebbe, the Spiedemin, from a small town in Poland. Spiedemin. And this Rebbe has helped me a lot in my life to become a better person, helped me to learn, to grow. And it's very special on such a day of Rosh Chodesh Adar that we could be together and we could look for those that have come before us, that have paved the path of greatness. And therefore I know that the language barrier might be a challenge. I'm just waiting for a call from the Rabbi. At B'siyata D'Shmaya, we're going to be zoicha to connect to something from an earlier door with the Spiedemin. And therefore I'm very encouraging. One second. The Rebbe's due. The Rebbe said the Rebbe is coming. He's on his way. The Rebbe's due. Mamish. I think it's very matim that we should mamish get up, all of us together, because the Rebbe's mamish coming any minute now. Let's mamish starts the music, the siyata d'shmaya, and the Spiedemin Rebbe is going to be gracing us. Let's come. The Rebbe's coming. The Rebbe's coming.
Sag the heilige Gemorre. Arba avos mezikin. Arba avos mezikin, a shore and a bowl. So in my little shtetl in Poland, we didn't have so much water. We didn't have water. So I built a well, a bore, Rishis the Rabbi, the Zikin, and a very, very old man. He fell down the well. And I asked his son, I said, why did your very old father fall down the well? And he said, because he couldn't see that well. Eli Rebbe. Rosh Chodesh, Rosh Chodesh, Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is the beginning of the month, the head of the month. We should say Hatchalat HaChodesh, the beginning of the month, but we don't say Rosh Chodesh, the head of the month. Because for a real Yid, the head is in control. The Kavanah, the Das, the awareness, the intention, that's what makes you a Yid. So it's what's your intention for the Rosh Chodesh. Our sages teach us that Rosh Chodesh is related to the words Rosh Chadash, which means a new head. You have to have a new head, a new perspective on life. And they say, Mish Nichnas Adar. Mish Nichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha. Mish Nichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha. You have to be increasing your joy. And there's a question that our sages ask. How can you command me to feel something? You can command me to put on tefillin, because I'll just put on tefillin whether I feel like it or not. But how can you command me to feel something? I can't choose what I feel. What are you talking about? You're not allowed to bear a grudge. How can you command me not to bear a grudge? If someone beats me up and takes my job and smashes up my car, how can I not feel a grudge? You have to love every single Jew. How can you come out? Some Jews, chas v'shalom, are annoying. No, how can I love every Jew? You have to love Hashem. I don't see Hashem. I have difficulties in my life. You can't tell me to feel something. But if the Torah is telling us to feel something, it's telling us that you can choose how you feel. The Torah doesn't ask you to do things you can't do. So when the Torah says you've got to feel things, it says that you can be in control of what you feel. And our sages really teach us there are two drachim, there are two paths to feeling the three main feelings that you're meant to be feeling. They're called ahava, yira, and simcha. Ahava, yira, and simcha. There's an external way to experience ahava, yira, and simcha as emotions. And that's through a Jewish mindfulness technique called hitbonenut. Hisbonenus, not hitbodidut, hisbonenus. Hitbodidut means contemplation. Contemplation. Or the Jewish nation. It's a type of meditation. Contemplation. Contemplation. Meditation. Jewish nation. So I say to teacher that your thoughts create your emotions. That's an interesting notion. It's like a magic potion. Magic potion. Positive emotions. So if you think about depressive things, you'll feel depressed. And if you think about positive things, you'll feel good. But there's a deeper path to happiness. There's a love and a yira, ahava, yira, and simcha that doesn't depend on contemplation, even for the Jewish nation. Definitely no medication, unless you need it. Obviously, by the way, if you're on medication, please take medication. Shiur hamalei nishma. Rav Shimshon Pinchas, a holy Yid, says that Simcha eino tnuat hanefesh. It's not a movement of the soul. It's not an emotion. It's your essence. You are besimcha. And some people think that you have to have a reason to be happy. I need a reason to be happy. There's something happened. My team wins or things are going my way and then I'll be happy. Judaism says that's not called happiness. That's called I like it when things go my way. Judaism says you need a reason to not be happy. You are naturally happy unless there's something that gets in the way of your happiness. And for most people, do you know what gets in the way of their happiness? Their own mind and their own negative character traits, their yetzer hara. So Judaism says, let's say you can't mitbonen, you can't get to a state of simcha through thinking, or you can't get to a state of loving Hashem. The Rambam says, how do you build ahavat Hashem? Through hitbonenot, mitbonen. You should think about all the greatness of Hashem. And I tried that for very many years and I struggled with it a lot because I don't know what it means to love an infinite being. I love my wife and my children and you guys. It's hard to love Hashem. So there's a deeper love called ahava she'eino tuluya b'davar. It doesn't depend on what I'm thinking. My soul is mamish on fire with love for Hashem. So for the last 3 weeks, I've been saying, when I do a mitzvah, before I put on my tefillin, I say, Hashem, I'm putting on my tefillin because I love you and I know it makes you happy. I'm going to give you nachas. And everything I do, I say, I'm doing this because I love you and it's going to make you happy. I'm going to give you nachas. And I've grown in my love of Hashem more in 3 weeks than I did in 15 years before. Through hitbonenot. So in Adar, you're meant to marbi b'simcha, but you still got your issues and your problems and life's not easy. So firstly, we've got to tap into gratitude and emunah and all of the things that help with happiness. But we also got to enter a space called Adar. And there's a space called Adar, and people seem to think that means getting completely wasted until you throw up out of your nose and pass out in a bath. But that's not what it means. It means where you go beyond your mind. You go beyond das. And you enter into your neshama. And in your neshama, there you have ahava, simcha, and yira, and tevekas. That's where it is. That's what Adar means. So our sages teach we have this amazing, powerful mindfulness tool. So I lived in Asia for 6 years, being a Buddhist and doing all that stuff, and mindfulness. And I came to Judaism, I realized the whole of Judaism is just one big mindfulness tool. Every bracha is a moment to tap into ahava, yira, simcha, and tevekas. Every mezuzah is a moment to tap into ahava, yira, simcha, tevekas. Putting on your right shoe first, then your left shoe, that's a moment of tapping into ahava, simcha, yira, tevekas. So our sages gave us mitzvot, and a mitzvot we know means a connection point. And there are 3 types of relationship. 3 types of relationship. Ben Adam la'atzmo, between you and yourself, which really means your neshama. Ben Adam lechavero, between you and other yidden. Ben Adam lemakom, between us and Hashem. And these are meant to be power connection points that tap us into our neshama and therefore into relationship with Hashem. That's what they're doing. So I had this chat last night, and you probably all know this already, but it hit me for the first time. On Purim we have something completely unique. On Purim we have a mitzvah ben Adam lemakom, between us and Hashem, and that's the mitzvah of reading the Megillah. And what the Megillah is saying is that even when you can't see Hashem and life seems difficult, Hashem's there all the time. Because if you think about it, we say, Misha nichnas Adar ma bin b'simcha. But that doesn't make so much sense, because we were at war in Adar at that point. You could say Misha nichnas the 14th and 15th of Adar ma bin b'simcha, but there was a war before. But the Torah teaches us Misha nichnas Adar ma bin b'simcha, because it was a chodesh that was ner pach. The chodesh, the whole month itself was turned from yagon to simcha, from pain and groaning and difficulty to simcha. So the Shulchan Aruch says an amazing thing. I don't know if these are the exact words, but it says, "Hakarei ta Megillah lemafreya lo yatsa." If you read the Megillah lemafreya, you didn't fulfill the mitzvah of reading the Megillah. So the Pashat Pshat is, if you read chapter 3 before chapter 1, you didn't fulfill the mitzvah. But Can that really be what it means? Because who's going to read chapter 3? You're not even drunk yet at that point. Who's reading chapter 3 before chapter 1? So the Heilige Baal Shem Tov, he says, anyone who reads the Megillah Lemafreya is anyone who hears the Megillah reading and thinks this is some historical event that happened many years ago, it doesn't have anything to do with me, didn't actually get the benefit of what the Megillah is meant to give you. Because the Megillah is meant to say, hey, you've got a Megillah in your life right now, and Hashem might seem hidden, but Hashem's in everything. All your struggles and your issues and your parents who are upset you're here and your whatever you're doing, Hashem's behind everything. Ben Adam lemakom. Then we have this mitzvah ben Adam la'atzmo, between you and yourself, and that's the mitzvah of Ad lo yada. And remember, we said Ad lo yada doesn't mean getting wasted. It means when you go to a place of pure consciousness before the chet eitz das tov v'ra. The first sin, the first thing that disconnected us from our souls and from Hashem was this chet. So I had a question, and I hope you had this question. If I was God and I created humankind, the first thing I'd tell them to do was eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil so that you can make good choices. That's what I'd say to them. If you want to have free will, you have to know the difference between good and evil. So the first thing Hashem should say to humankind is eat from that tree first, eat from the tree of good and evil, because then you'll know what's good and what's evil, and then you can make a good free will choice. But Hashem said the opposite, don't eat from that tree. So the sages say there's a difference between chokhmah and das. Chokhmah is knowledge, information. Das is integrated awareness. So Hashem says, I want you to know the difference between good and evil, but I don't want you to integrate evil into your psyche. And that's what the sages said happened when they ate of the fruit. Evil was an external force called the snake, and they ate the fruit and they integrated it, and then evil became your Yetzer Hara in your own head, in your own voice, and you now identify with it, and you think that that's part of who you are. Ad lo yada means go to a place where you realize that any evil within you is not you, it's not part of you, it's something that you are responsible for and you have to overcome, but it's not you. You are only good, you are only pure, you're a chelek elokah mimal, mamish or not mamish, doesn't matter, but you've definitely got some relationship with Hashem there. Purim has this unique thing. Now tell me if I'm wrong, this is my chiddush last night. Pesach, the mitzvah is to eat matzah, basically. Rosh Hashanah, the mitzvah is to blow the shofar. Yom Kippur, the mitzvah is to fast and do tshuva. Sukkot, the mitzvah is to shake a lulav and etrog and sit in the sukkah. Chanukah, the mitzvah is to light candles. None of them seem to me to be a fulfillment of Ben Adam la Chavero. None of them are a fulfillment of V'ahavta l'recha kamocha. Maybe Chanukah candles are a bit of Pesumei Nisa going on, but really, no festival has a mitzvah Ben Adam lechavero, which our sages teach is actually the highest mitzvah you can do. Purim, we have Matanas V'Yainim V'Mishloach Manas. Purim is the complete hashlama, it's the complete perfection of connection. The perfection of connection. Perfection of connection. It's the perfection of connection. We don't need a correction. Isn't that awesome? And the main mitzvah is probably Matanas Levyayim. We've got all our mitzvahs, we're so holy, and we're doing all the mitzvahs of Pesach and Rosh Hashanah, and they're all kind of selfish in a way. Not selfish, obviously. But Purim's the only chag that we have a mitzvah to go to mevatel ourselves. And what's the difference between tzedakah every day? We give tzedakah every day. We have something called Matanas Levyayim, which says, the Shulchan Aruch says, Kol ha-poshet yad not nimlo. Anyone who asks, just give them. Now during the year when we give tzedakah, we're Hashem's accountants, we're Hashem's bankers, and Hashem gives us His money and says, hey, give this out in a sensible way, make sure whoever you give this to deserves it. One day a year Hashem says, mevatel yourself, get out of the way, just give. Just give to everyone who comes around. I'm in control anyway. So everything gets to whoever needs it. So you don't start judging, do they deserve it or not? You just give. It's a complete tapping into your neshama, because your neshama is just a giver. Your neshama wants to give. So the sages say, Kol poshet yad, not nimlo. Anyone who sticks out their hand, you should give them on Purim. But the deepest Sfarim teach us, You should read it like this. Kol ha-pashut yid, not nimlo. Anyone who's just a pashut yid, just be a pashut yid. Don't be so overcomplicated. Just do mitzvahs, just have emunah, be b'simcha. Tap into your neshama. Your mind is very complicated, your soul is very passionate. So what you want to do is you want to take the day of Purim and really the whole month of Adar. The whole month of Adar now is a little bit of tap into your neshama and then mabatel yourself. And be there for other people. And we'll finish on this. If your whole Purim is, do I have enough alcohol? Do I have my costume? Do I have enough food? You messed up Purim. Purim, you've got to be sitting in your Suda asking, does everyone else have what they need? Hey, do you have enough wine? I'll give you some of my wine. You know, you didn't bring enough. You lost your fake beard, I'll give you my fake beard. Better show one day you'll have a real beard. But this is what it means to be a Yid, to connect to Hashem. And then my final Chiddush, because we want to Makayim ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha on other festivals as well. But all the mitzvahs on other festivals are basically ben Adam lemakom, between us and Hashem. But Rashi on Mishlei, chapter 27, verse 10, I looked it up this morning, I don't know it by heart, says that who is your Re'ah? Who is your friend? Rashi says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem's your friend. Hashem loves you. Hashem's there for you. So when you do a mitzvah ben Adam lemakom, between you and Hashem, and you understand that Hashem is your friend, then you are fulfilling the mitzvah of v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha with your friend. But on Purim we can just do it with human Yidden, the Jews. As Hashem, we should always like to be able to be Pashut Yidden. Just be deeply connected to our neshama, deeply connected to every Jew, not judging anyone, and deeply connected to Hashem.